Jeffy's imaginary friend. The video that made me revise my scoring system, and an overall decent video. But actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll explain those things at the end. This video involves Jeffy getting an imaginary friend after realizing he doesn't have one for a partner project in school. So he creates one out of Play-Doh, somehow, and names it Bunghole. Funny. Mario thinks Jeffy is crazy, but Dr. Brooklyn Guy explains to Mario that Jeffy just has an imaginary friend, just like Brooklyn Guy does with his imaginary friend named Booger. Mario's kind of rude in not liking Jeffy's imaginary friend, but for the most part, things are pretty standard. Jeffy has an imaginary friend. Alright, I guess they're going to do some goofy hijinks in the video or something. No harm in that, until of course Bunghole starts telling Jeffy to kill Mario. And later on telling Jeffy to do stuff like throw a plate at Mario or a chair at Jackie Chu. And at that point, I'd call that less of an imaginary friend and more of a, demon? Jeffy throws the aforementioned plate at Mario after Bunghole convinces Jeffy to do so, which makes Mario send Jeffy to his room. And at the school the next day, after Jackie Chu gives Jeffy an F for bringing in nothing for the project besides Bunghole, whom Jackie Chu can't see, Jeffy is told by Bunghole to throw a chair at Jackie Chu. Jeffy does this, and subsequently got arrested. Jeffy then explains that Bunghole will kill him if Jeffy doesn't do what Bunghole says. More on that in the conclusion. Brooklyn Guy tries to kill Bunghole, but since he can't see him, he ends up killing Booger instead. Oops. Officer Brooklyn Guy tells Jeffy to relay the message to Bunghole that he's under arrest, and Bunghole pulls out a gun. An imaginary gun! So the bullets are completely ineffective. However, they quickly realize that neither of them can hurt one another, so Brooklyn Guy has to bring back Booger and tell him that Bunghole thinks Brooklyn Guy isn't the best. Or rather, he isn't the man. This results in Booger using his own imaginary gun to kill Bunghole, and this actually works. And that's where the video ends. So, thoughts on this video? Well, the jokes were decent enough. There were a few made which were funny, but they weren't really the focus of the video anyways, so they're not weighted nearly as much anyways. I'd say my favorite had to be what Junior and Cody submitted as their project. I don't know why, but I just kind of found it funny. Next, characters. Jeffy, Bunghole, Mario, Brooklyn Guy, and Booger. Jeffy was pretty decent here. I appreciated how he wasn't incredibly annoying, and acted more gullible than anything else. Didn't seem to do anything out of malice, more as he was easily convinced by his imaginary friend. Next we have Bunghole. While this was good, he could have used way more development. By no means one note, but more could have been done with him. It also would have been kinda cool to see Jeffy try to get more characters to interact with Bunghole, but frankly that would have been hard to pull off, and might have resulted in some filler, so I guess it's good they erred on the side of caution for that one. But in the off chance Bunghole ever does come back, I wouldn't mind seeing more of his character being developed. I wouldn't mind seeing him as a somewhat dark character. That'd be pretty cool if you ask me. Mario. Very meh, kinda one note, although he didn't have much to do since half the time he had no idea what was going on either way. Not much to say about him. Brooklyn Guy. Hey, have I mentioned how Brooklyn Guy is one of my favorite characters? Because he is. And as always, he was pretty good in this video. His interactions with his imaginary friend, Booger, were pretty funny, he acted well, and was overall pretty funny. So, good job there. And finally, Booger. You know, I was originally thinking that Booger would be annoying on subsequent viewings, but you know what? Booger isn't that bad. His joke is pretty one note, with him just saying that Brooklyn Guy's the man, until the end where he goes insane when someone dares to imply that Brooklyn Guy might not be the man! It made me laugh, honestly. Now then, conclusion time. This video gets a 7 out of 10 or color yellow-green range rating. Now you might be wondering why that is, since it seems like from what I've been saying, I've had nothing but praise for this video. Well, let's begin with this. I've reevaluated my rating system since I felt it was a bit too lenient on some videos. This is still a good video, but not a very good video, which is reserved for 8s and above. Go watch the video on my SML rating system if you haven't done so yet. But the reason this isn't very good is a couple things. For starters, the title. I immediately thought this would be a copy of Bowser Jr.'s imaginary friend. Luckily it wasn't, but the title gives off that impression. And I don't know, I just think more could have been done with this video. Maybe flesh out Bunghole as a character instead of being basically, oh look, Bunghole's evil now!
What a twist!
Also, the point of how Bunghole was basically forcing Jeffy to do all these things was only briefly mentioned once, which made it feel like it came out of nowhere. I wish this had been alluded to more instead of just the one time out of nowhere. Also, not enough locations were visited, with this video being limited to the dining room area briefly, Jeffy's room briefly, the red couch, and the classroom. Don't get me wrong, that's better than just the red couch, but I'm still just kinda hopeful for more. Especially since the red couch still was the majority of the video. But this video was still good, all things considered. So, thank y'all for watching, and take care.
What do I do, Lord?
Destroy the child. Corrupt them all.
This is their plan, people. These are demons.